Again, it's fine. Take out the 9. We all hate them. But you gotta do it in the parking lot. Rappy. Hello and welcome to the rugby update. And fine, I will write less. Jeez. Anyways, round 2 of the Champions Cup happened this past weekend, so let's get on that. Now be warned, there were 10 million of these games again, so we are going to go wide and shallow with some funky music in the background. The first game was on Friday night between the Sale Sharks and Racing 92. The Sharks this time looking a little bit more European-y without that orange. Unfortunately, it was a classic French team playing away type of performance, so there wasn't really much to write home about. The Sharks got themselves into a qualification position with a nice big 29-7 win, and you wouldn't count them out against the Stormers away either these days. The other Friday night game was between the club whose name I keep butchering and Munster. And the most surprising for me was seeing one of my favourite All Blacks, Jack Goodhue, running around in that pretty little town. Every Munster fan will tell you that they are struggling with a whole lot of injuries. And wouldn't you know it, it got even worse in this game. First, they lost their prop, who's already on loan there to cover all the other injured props. And then they also lost Takir Abrams and Peter O'Mani and Craig Casey. So everything's going real bad. I would suggest we all keep our phones on us and fully charged, because any one of us might be called up to the Munster squad one of these days. Castres scratched out a 16-14 win, but that doesn't matter because the pool stages of this competition only removes 8 of the 24 teams before the knockouts. So you're fine, Munster. The first game on Saturday was in sunny Pretoria, and it was an omen to how bad this weekend was going to go for us Saffers. The Bulls lost to Northampton Saints for the second time in a row. All the attacking stats though point to a Bulls team that was dominating. The only things I could find that weren't on their side was the tackle completion rate and the very low kicking numbers. I was watching it on and off, and it did seem like the Bulls' conversion rate in the red zone was very, very bad. Rugby has a nice little thread on it. Northampton seemed to love the scoring shootout type game the Bulls want to play against them, and produced a very good 30-21 point victory that has many people baying for Jake's blood for some reason. Next up, Ulster hosted Bordeaux in Belfast, and they were looking good, leading at half-time. But then Bordeaux made 3 big changes at around 46 minutes, and they started a fight back that was too strong for Ulster to resist. Guys like Penot and Louis Biel-Bayaré, I'll get that right one day, started to cut loose, and it just led to a massive score for the away team. Ulster could not stem the tide and went down by 19 points to 40 in the second big spanking of the weekend, but certainly not the last. Leinster faced Clermont next, and that gave us a nice little opportunity to see the weirdness of rugby stats. The Bulls had as much, if not more, attacking ascendancy than Leinster, but Leinster made just a little bit more of their tackles and they kicked a whole bunch more. Is that why Leinster won? Because they tackled a little bit better and kicked a whole bunch more? I don't really know. Missed tackles don't really matter in a Neil Arbor style defense, which Leinster runs. I also had to do stats twice at varsity, so I can't look into that. Instead, I subscribe to the universally held belief that Leinster uses the same devil magic as the KC Chiefs, and that helped them walk away with a tough 15-7 win. Now, we all know the Shark performances fall off a cliff when they do not have their box in town. And when you send all those cliff divers to a very strong Leicester side, the outcome is well known to us all. I don't know why they don't just forfeit the game and save on all the flight tickets. It'll save me a lot of time watching a bad game. It is good though to see that Pollard is fit and playing well. Man of the match, very nice. Leicester got to take out their Bordeaux frustrations on the Sharks and provided spanking number 3 of the weekend with 56 points to 17. Yikes. Corporal punishment number 4. Fresh off having to stem the tide against Leinster last week, Bristol had to go to La Rochelle to try and beat them. These are the types of games you have to win if you want to be a Euro champion. Sorry, Bristol did not win the game, as another spanking was handed out by a big hero boy. 35 points to 7 for La Rochelle, who are basically qualified already, I guess. The DHL derby at the Stoop, Quins versus Stormers. The Stormers with Blommetjies, and when you see him being rolled out, you know the Stormers are going for the win. Guys like Marcus Smith and Alex Dombrandt are made for games that are loose, and no games are looser than Stormers games these days. And Danny Kerr was also a very nice nuisance on the day. The Quins were just more accurate and afforded more space on their way to a massive 53-16 win. Again, the Stormers might as well have forfeited to save on flight tickets, eh? Eh? The second best game of the weekend, and another point for my original idea that the Champions Cup should just be a straight knockout competition. Imagine the headlines: Benetton knocking Bath out in the second round. Can they go on a run? Will they win at all? The Rainbow Cup champions. That would be amazing. Don't come to me with sane arguments about the travel nightmare a straight knockout competition would cause, okay? I just want to dream. Anyways, the rugby. Benetton controlled the first half ruck battle especially beautifully, and Albernos showed us all who the real rugby Messi is with a superb performance. 22 points to 21 for the Rainbow Cup champions for life. Stade Francais have allowed the Voices to win. 2 weeks in a row now, they have assaulted the 9 and gotten a red card for it. Worst is, this time they were leading 10-0, but this was the turning point that brought Saracens back into the game, and by 63 minutes, the Saracens were up 21 points to 10. Away from home. The Saracens kept that lead, making the red card against Macalou count, and got a very valuable 28 points to 17 win in Paris, all but confirming their spot in the knockouts. Toulon are looking pretty good, eh? They wear sweet threads, they have a very good pack, and Dave Ribbons has been playing very nicely. He would be such a good addition to that England squad, just to build some depth. C'est la vie. Anyways, Glasgow are good too, and they helped make this one of the better games of the weekend. Thank goodness. Best part was Sarah getting sent off after some scrum half shenanigans after a penalty. He's lucky they weren't playing Stade, because those guys would have just pulled out their guns and shot him. Thankfully that didn't happen. Instead, a strong looking Toulon just beat a strong looking Glasgow by 30 points to 29. More games like these, please. And less games like the last one of the weekend. It was spanking number 6, and it contained the most insanity of the lot. It's like the very concept of rugby just decided to throw all the laws out the window and let anything happen. I know me saying this would piss off a whole bunch of Saffers for some reason. I don't know why. But seeing DuPont manage a game like that in only the way he can really makes some animal part of me purr like a kitten on a warm lap. 64 points to 21 for Toulouse against an admittedly very out of form Exeter Chiefs at their beloved Sandy Park. Sorry. So the first 2 rounds of the Champions Cup are done, and they haven't really been very good. There's way too many teams, and it's clear a lot of them cannot compete at that high a level, including maybe some Safford teams. Hopefully the next 2 rounds will bring some jeopardy, as there will be teams falling out, so maybe that'll raise the performances, especially for the Safford teams, or we might have a big fat 0 representation in the knockouts. The Challenge Cup continues to grow and spread on the whole of rugby, which means I have to look at the results. Let me just get out my laptop, because I don't write any of this anymore. First up on Friday night, Edinburgh spanked Bayonne. I didn't watch it. Then on Saturday, Montpellier spanked the Ospreys. I didn't watch that. Zebre Parma lost very closely to Lyon. Did not watch that. Then the Emirates Lions beat Pau in a game that lasted 3 hours. Unfortunately, I watched most of that, and now my eyes hurt all the time. Vaughan beat Gloucester in a massive spanking. I did not watch that. Cardiff easily beat the Toyota Cheetahs. Not a spanking. Also, I did not watch that. Then the Scarlets kind of spanked Black Lion. Didn't watch that. Perpignan lost at home to Connacht. Didn't watch that. And then the Newcastle Falcons lost to the Dragons, which I didn't watch, but this also means that the worst team in the Erg is better than the worst team in the Premiership, so we can all brag and fight about that. I'll see you online. Laptop gone. And so are hopefully the bad matches in the Challenge Cup, for the same reason that hopefully the bad matches in the Champions Cup will end now. But maybe there is no hope. All I ever heard before the Saffers joined this competition was how bad it is now and how it used to be better. And now that the Saffers joined, it's even worse. So how am I or any other fan supposed to build up any enthusiasm for it? The URC gets talked up by its fans, excluding the Welsh, all the time. And that makes me want to love it as well, even if it's a bit of a meme. If you're going to talk down to the Champions Cup all the time, then I'm not really going to care about it. And if the Lions fall out of the Challenge Cup, more time to follow the Urk. And that's just going to keep happening until the administrators behind the scene do something to fix this competition. Invent teleportation and make it a straight knockout. Problem solved. It's back. And now the news. Let me just move it because it's boiling hot. First big news is Felix Jones finally escaping or telling England to fuck off. I'm not sure who's the antagonist in that role. Since the last World Cup, he's followed the same route as Matt Proudfoot and Aled Walters before him, going straight from the world champions to the England camp. His time in England is over now, and like those other two coaches, he must choose which path to take. End up at a second division Currie Cup side like Matt Proudfoot, or end up at the Irish national side like Aled Walters. Tough choice. For now, his exit clause with England means he cannot coach any Tier 1 international rugby team until after April the 1st, 2025. That means he's only got the British and Irish Lions, any club side he wants in his home South Africa, or Leinster via the Munster path for maximum emotional damage. We all wait with bated breath. Oh, it's back, little rascal, and it's telling me that the last news is that this is my last video of the year. It has been really fun though, but I will be at home for the next few weeks with kids, which makes making videos really hard. They are scratching at the door like a bunch of zombies right now. The laptop does provide some other stats though, like I wrote 43,073 words this year, which apparently is more words than in The Wizard of Oz, but just a few fewer words than in Beowulf. Other stats, I made 35 videos this year, gaining 188,310 views, which is a little less than last year, but it's a lot fewer videos, which shows you how sick I was. I'm trying to make a video a week, and hitting 35 is way below the 52 I could be making. What else? I appeared in a whole bunch of podcasts, like on the 8-9 Combo, and on Megaphone Sport, and even on the Squidge Rugby World Cup Retrospective. I will forget to link those below the video. The Boks were very good this year, which also made me very happy, but the Lions lost every single one of their games against those fuckers, the Ospreys, so I think this year is probably a failure. Sorry. I will try to be better next year by somehow poisoning those bastards. I'll see you later. And I'll also probably be on Twitter and bluesky talking shit, so come see me there. Bye. No, I mean, bye.